Hi guys, 2 Miles High here. Today we're going to be doing the first of many walkthroughs on our channel. And before we jump into it, we're just going to start with our disclaimer for today. Due to the virus and everybody's stay-at-home orders, today it's just myself, Dustin, filming. And typically we'd have Chance with me too. He's the other half of 2 Miles High, but he's at home because we are at stay-at-home orders, and we're doing our best to provide you guys new content during this time so that we're not all just stuck at home. So, moving forward, today is the second oil change on the STI. She's at about 4,100 miles, still pretty young. We're going to do a walkthrough on it. My goal is to show you everything you need to know about approaching this oil change, but also everything you need to know about just simply doing an oil change on your car. That's why we chose this one to be our first of many walkthroughs. All right, so first thing that we're going to cover is what you need to get this job done. So right here, I've laid out most of what you're going to need. You're going to need an oil pan. You're going to need your oil. You're going to need an oil filter and the crush washer. You're going to need some wrenches to get your stuff off and to get your drain plug out. And I have a little puller to help pull the clips because the STI has a big skid plate underneath there that you got to get out before you can do the oil change. So, one last thing that we'll touch base on at the end of the video is all of my oil is going to be getting sent to Blackstone for analysis to let me know the health of the engine as we move forward with the channel. As we move forward, we will follow my oil analysis reviews every single oil change, and we'll give you guys updates about how the engine's doing, what the metals inside the oil mean, and what Blackstone says about the engine. All right, so first things first that you want to do is you want to get this loosened up. This is your fill cap. And you just want to make sure that that is allowing everything to drain out the other end. Doesn't need to be totally loose, but loose. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and get underneath the car and get started on the pan. So we'll be back with you in just a second. All right, from underneath here, you can see that there are a few screws that you're going to have to get out before you can go for the pins. That's one's right there. But then you also have pins like this that you got to remove. You got one here, you got one right here, and then you have another one up in the back there that you got to get out. So, first things first, what I do is I use this little puller to get that distance out of there. And then you can kind of just wiggle the clip out and get it out. And I recommend just kind of setting all those in certain places and don't lose them. Don't break them. Take your time. Get this pan out because it has nothing to do with your actual oil change. It's just going to be in the way of you getting your oil change done. So then you will want to kind of get all of those clips out like I just showed you, and then you're going to want to get these screws out. And then you're going to want to take this pan down. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. All right, guys. So I'll show you kind of how I approach these. This is the one that's on the opposite side, all up in there. So what I do is I get the little piece in there, and I start just gently pulling that clip out ever so slightly. You'll want it about halfway out. All the way out's a little too far, but then you just wiggle it out. And it comes out. Pretty simple if you take your time. If you don't take your time, you will break these clips. There are 3 on each side, so just take your time and get them out. All right, guys. Once you have everything else off and you're about ready to be done with it, there are these 2 clips that you got to just pop down and then push this forward out of the way of them to fully get this thing off. So there's one back over here, and then there's one over there. So basically, either side of the transmission, or engine, case, whatever you want to call it, but technically transmission, transfer case, done. So we'll just get that unclipped real quick and go from there. And there we have it. Skid plate is down. You can finally see the oil pan, the drain plug, and you have finally revealed your access to the oil filter. All right, drain plug is off. So once you get the drain plug off of there, you really just want to let this drain out until it slows as much as you can allow it. I mean, you don't need to wait here for an hour, but you probably want to give it a few minutes to let it just stop drizzling. As you can see, it's drizzling. Most of it's out of there. I have my plug getting wiped off right here. And then I have my old crush washer. And right here, you can see the new crush washer. I haven't taken it out yet. Biggest thing is you want the flat side of the crush washer, this side, to be against your drain plug. And you want the crush side to be on the pan side. So just remember that when you're doing it. Next is remove the oil filter and replace with the new oil filter. And your oil filter should only be about as tight as a hand can do it. So once it gets tight on there, once you're tightening it, you want to go 1/4 turn past there when you're putting it on so you don't over tighten it. A lot of people really over tighten these, so just make sure you don't do that. We'll get this off and we'll go over putting the new one on there and oiling the gasket on it. It will drain oil out of it, so you do kind of want to get the pan underneath that area too while both are still draining. I have it so it's underneath both of them, but this one will leak oil out of it when you open it up, so you kind of just want to open it up and let it drain out its oil that it's gotten its part of the system, and then go from there. All right, so here is the fresh crush washer, and you can see how it's not crushed down compared to the used one, which is basically flat. And what I was trying to say was, when you're looking at your drain plug, you want the non-crush flat side, so this really flat side, going against the drain plug with the crush side going up. So when you cap it back up, you're good to go. Then, for your rim on your filter, what you want to do is take a little bit of your oil you're going to be using, and you just want to moisten that area on the filter ever so slightly, just to create a really good seal. So just enough, like not much, like I barely have any on my finger there. You're gonna just basically take a little bit of that, get it on that rim so it just gets shiny and ready to seal. And you know, it doesn't take much, just kind of barely any. Then you can get this back up on there, you can get your plug back on, you can get your pan back in, and you can fill her up, and that's about as simple as it gets. All right, so once you have your oil filter back on there, and it's loose but it's on, don't cross thread it. Make sure you don't cross thread it. So once it's all good to go and you're ready to roar, get it started up there. Once it gets tight, you can hand tighten it, and then basically once it wants to stop, do a 1/4 turn past there. This one fits pretty snug, but what I'm trying to show you is it should only be hand tight. It shouldn't be any tighter than that, and if it is, someone over tightened it. So just make sure that's good. You can do a little cleanup around your can just to make sure that there's no leftover residue, and then that's done, and then we'll get this sealed up, and we're basically done, minus just filling it back up. So we'll see you on the top of the engine. All right, guys, here we are back up on top. Pan is and everything is completed underneath, and so your next step is to just fill her back up with oil. Don't forget that step. So I recommend using filter of some sort. You know, make sure it's clean, that you've wiped it down, make sure the inside is relatively clean, and then just get going. I know my engine takes about 4.5 quarts of oil, 4.6, 4.7. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. We're gonna go right into 4 quarts. We'll do about four and a half right about, and then we'll pull it off the rams. We'll get it sealed up, and then we'll check the oil level there, and we'll top it off from there. You know, make sure it's flat when you top it off and not still up on your ramps. So we'll go ahead and get started with that, and we'll see you in a second. Get everything you can out of the oil. Waste none. Alright guys, so we've done 4 quarts and we have our 5th right here, but we only need about 4.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill it to about that line. Use about that much of it, then we'll seal it up, get it off the ramps, then we'll check the oil level, and then we'll top it off once it's down on level ground. Alright guys, now that we're back on level ground, I wanted to go ahead and just show you process of doing the dipstick. And on one of our forums for the STI, was recently asked what's the proper way to read the dipstick. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that real quick. Okay, so my car's hot. So once you run it hot, you want to let it sit for about 3 minutes and then check your oil on your dipstick. So what you're looking for is to wipe it down. And then you want to pull it back out. And what you're actually looking for when it's hot is your measurement is between that circle and this notch. If it's cold, your measurement is between that circle and that circle. But hot, it's going to be between those two. And I know we're kind of at the shade with the light that's coming into my garage, but I just wanted to show you that and show you how to read on the dipstick. And again, cold is going to be between there, and hot is going to be between there and there. And on an STI, I recommend it cold. You run it all the way at full. And that's about it. That sums up the oil change for you. Last thing you want to do when you're done is make sure that is in and snug. Make sure this is good and snug. And you're good to go. And then, you know, your engine should be back to looking like everything is in good order. And last few things I wanted to sum up. You know, as you're draining your oil, think about where you can recycle it. Auto parts stores help you recycle the oil, and they will do it for free as long as you don't bring them too much, like 1 or 2 gallons at a time. And I hope you guys liked the video. If you could, hit like and subscribe on our video, and we'll be trying to bring you more. If you guys think of anything you'd like to see different, if you guys think of things you'd like to try to see us film, let us know. If there's comments that you want to leave us for things we could have done better, things we could have changed, leave them. We will be interactive with you guys. We're doing our best to make sure that we're bringing you content you want, content that is exciting, and things that are slightly different than all the other filmers out there. Like us having the mountains in our background. 50% of our channel is going to be us chronicling the mountains and how they affect cars. So just remember that, stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks again for tuning in.